it's a it's a creature that really plays up. It's a movie that really plays up in the relationship between a boy and an animal. And so a lot in the design, I really wanted to play with those animals that I know kids really connect with.
I'm very excited to talk to you about the movie. I had a chance to watch it. I watched it with my 10-year-old, and
Wow.
we both really enjoyed it. It's so fun. It's so much adventure, so much heart. Would love to know a little bit about kind of the origin of the story and kind of how it evolved to, what it became.
Well, to be honest, this is a movie I made for my kids. I have two kids, and like I spent most of the pandemic watching movies with them, and just also I keep watching movies with them. And a lot of the films we watch are movies that I grew up with, like E.T., Jurassic Park, Gremlins. So I suddenly became very excited to be able to make a movie like that for my kids. And when the project came in and I realized that it had that DNA, it told the story of a kid with a magical creature, but it did it with the chupacabras, I became even more excited because, I grew up in Mexico in the 90s. So I was well aware of the myth. And as a kid, I heard about it all over the news. I was very excited about it. So I realized that this project would allow me to do a big, fantastical movie for kids, but that would portray the context of where I grew up in, and so that was important to me.
I really love how you soften the sort of image of the chupacabra and create it more kind of as a realistic animal. The idea that, yes, it's kind of scary, but it's also kind of sweet. I thought that was a really fun angle and direction. Was that an important aspect of the story for you?
Definitely. I always thought the reversal in the concept of grabbing a creature that since its origins was always treated as a horror movie type of creature, and turning it into a creature that first of all is a cub. He's a baby, and also, yeah, it's a creature that really plays up. It's a movie that really plays up in the relationship between a boy and an animal. And so a lot in the design, I really wanted to play with those animals that I know kids really connect with. I find those relationships so magical. Whenever I see my kids playing with my dogs, it's so magical. They talk without talking, and to me that's so beautiful. To the point that even when we filmed the movie, I made sure that Evan, the kid that plays Alex, always had a dog to interact with. Like whenever he's acting with Chupa, there was a dog on set, Harper, who was incredibly cute and really well behaved. And that's truly where the relationship of Evan and Chupa got built. And also later, when we started animating the creature, I really based a lot of the performance on the creature on a lot of animals that I know kids really react well to.
Yeah, it shows too. I watching it, like, my family have cats, and so I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of kind of like I know that the chupacabra is supposed to be kind of like dog-like, but there's a lot of sort of almost cat-like behavior that I'm noticing as well. I thought that was interesting. I think you have a whole career here ahead of you now, a new career, Jonás, with converting once terrifying mythical creatures into family-friendly films. I think you should consider Creature from the Black Lagoon. Just go on with it. You mentioned Jurassic Park when you were kind of talking about fantastical movies, and I something I mentioned to Christian was I noticed that his character was a little bit sort of Indiana Jones or Alan Grant like, and I wondered if that was like sort of intentional.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of the movie is filled with Easter eggs from all those Amblin-esque movies. I mean, E.T. being the main one, like there's a lot of E.T. Easter eggs throughout the movie, but to me, I really in making this movie, I overwatched all of those early Spielberg kids movies because I watched them way too many times. There's never too many times, but and definitely in Building Queen, there was a lot of Sam Neill in Jurassic Park. I think I'm really interested in the fact of having a character that is an antagonist that is chasing after your monster, but that he has a purpose. He's not just there to trap a monster. He has a scientific reason to do it. Even in E.T., the man with the kids that is going after Elliot, once you get to talk to him, he's like a kid that since a kid has been fascinating with aliens, and he has a chance, he's gonna take it, And so in Building Queen, we really wanted to give it all that dimensionality that those great antagonists have.
You do a lot of trope flipping in the movie, and I think that that's a really, really cool, you know, thing for people to see, is that you can still do this kind of movie without having to do all the kind of like typical stuff that comes along. The bad guy doesn't have to be the worst person in the world and bloodthirsty and all that. Like, maybe he's just kind of misguided, you know. That's more real life.
No, definitely. I mean, I think, you know, like, Quinn's not a bad guy. He actually has a purpose, like a good purpose to capturing these creatures. It's just we love Chupa and we don't want him to do it.
Something else that I really love about the movie is I love Damien's luchador sort of subplot a little bit there. And listen, I'm just saying that could be a great movie. I mean, we do a whole luchador movie with Damien and you behind the camera. I'm just throwing it out there.
I mean, I love lucha libre as a Mexican. You know, you grow up with lucha libre. I was a huge lucha libre fan, like, you know, because it's such a beautifully acrobatic sport. It's like a form of martial arts, but like insane, like that we've never seen before. And it's also a very narrative sport, you know, like each wrestler, each luchador has its own mask, and each mask has its own narrative, and there's a narrative of characters against characters. So, you know, to me, when like we were reworking on the script, and I wanted to bring in this character of a grandfather who like brings in the stories to the kid, lucha libre became a really fun element because I knew I was gonna be able to play with it a lot.
Well, it comes across really cool, and the movie is just phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. It's coming to Netflix. Everybody's gonna be able to watch it April the 7th. Jonás, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.